In this video, we're going to begin preparing our miniature train design for the working drawings that we're going to be creating. And in order to do so, we're going to have to create an exploded view. I'm looking at the different files we have. We are going to be working with the miniature train assembly. We're not working with the train on the track. The train on the track was just for some visualization purposes, motion, just some things to teach you about motion constraints and things like that. The miniature train assembly file will be the one we're working with mostly. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down. And I'm going to go from the design workspace to the animation workspace. From here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, give myself a little bit of room, and then I'm going to go ahead and look at under transform. I want to use the transform components. Before we used manual explode, but transform components seems to work better for the size of our project that we're working with. One thing is we're going to look at what components. So I'm going to start off first. I'm going to select I'm going to do this in the order of which you would probably take this thing apart if you needed to take it apart. So I'm going to go ahead and take off and even here I select the linkage arm, but actually what I'm wanting is I want the linkage peg, and I'm going to select two of these at the same time. To do so, I'm going to hold the shift key on my keyboard. And when the linkage peg is highlighted, you'll notice both of those are there. And what I want to do as well is I want to scroll down. Yours may be showing up full screen, which will be good. But I want to check trail line visibility. I want to make sure that's highlighted in blue. So here I got two selections, trail line visibility, and then I'm going to grab and move this out a certain distance. Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and change this to 5 inches. So there's the trail lines showing you where they came from and where they would go if you were to reassemble them there. And then we did it about 5 inches away from the current position. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And then here you're going to see, now I'm going to left click off in the white space to deselect those pegs. And you're going to notice here the transform components option. If we press the M key, that will also go through and bring that menu back up. So pressing M key, here's the components. Let me grab the linkage arm, grab the direction that would go out in. I think about 4 inches is what we want. And again, scrolling down, checking the trail line visibility. Even after you move it, you can set that in, but I want to make sure that's there. And I'm going to say OK. Okay, very similar process to what we did. The axle pegs will come out next. So here is the first axle peg, holding my shift key, grabbing the other one, dragging those out, and I want to be able to see everything clearly. Nothing is covering up any of the other parts, and those are shown there. Left click on the white space to do so. I'm going to do the same thing with the wheels now. Grabbing this direction, and even then, so I think I'm going to do about 2 inches, making sure to show the trail line visibility and saying OK. Now it looks as though I need to go out a little bit further with some of these other components. So what I can do here is I should be able to see that with my, there we go, is down here at the bottom I can see these motions, these movements that I've made. So here's linkage peg 1, and I'm going to hold shift and grab linkage peg 1. So there's the two linkage pegs. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say to, and it looks like I might have to do these separately. So let me select the first one. I'm going to edit the action. And so instead of 5 inches, let's put this out to be 6 inches. And I'm going to do the same thing here on this linkage peg. So if you need to make any adjustments, this is how this can be done. Okay, linkage arm, right click on that, edit the action. Instead of 4 inches, let's do 5. And then the linkage, or the axle pegs, we could probably set that at 4.5. So we'll just go through and bump these out a whole nother inch each. And now I have all those components pulled out. They are not covering any other components. Trail lines are all visible on each one of those, and we go through and we have a pretty good scenario going on. Okay, so I'm going to continue to transform the rest of these components. And I'm going to drag this one out of the way. This one doesn't need to be as far. So just as long as it gets pulled away, the stack we don't want to forget about if we turn around to the back here, we don't want to forget about our hitch peg. And if I go around to I want to show this with the trail line. Let's make this 3 inches just to make it nice and even. And even then, if I expand the folder here, I can look at all the components, move the hitch magnet, I can select it from the browser, and let's make that a nice 2 inches there. All right, so those are the kinds of things that can be done. Let me turn on the trail line visibility. So you can always go back, edit the action, and turn on the trail lines if you need as well. So the other side, we'll do the same thing as what we did on the left side here. Move or transform the components, choosing R2. Let's go ahead and do 6 inches, just like what we did before, and making sure our trail lines are on. I'm going to switch over to this side because this is the side that we're going to see. Looks like these are well in view. Let me drag these out. These would be a good placement. The stack looks like it's in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just say OK. Let me go back to the stack. Let me edit the action. And let's just go ahead and drag that up just a little higher, so it's not covering up that back wheel. 4 inches in there would be our exploded view, all done and ready. If I click the play button, this shows how that would go through and be taken apart. But this is what we're looking for. Full views of all the parts, nothing covering each other up, the trail lines showing where they would go. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the save button. And if we want to move back to the design workspace, we just choose it, and everything is back in the assembly, and everything is good there. So this finishes up how to create your exploded view of your miniature train assembly and prepare it for working drawings, which we'll start in the next video.